Hello, my name is Emanuel Kulczycki, and together with my colleagues from Scholarly Communication Research Group from the Mickiewicz University, we are happy to share with you our results on analysis of citation patterns of papers published in the so-called blacklisted journals by papers published in impact factor journals. This presentation is prepared for International Conference on Scientometrics and Informetrics. This slide shows you the authors. On the left, that is me, Emanuel Kulczycki, Marek Hołowiecki, Zehra Taşkın, and Franciszek, Krawczyk. Here you can see a presentation plan. First, I will show you the aim of our study. Then I will describe how we selected blacklisted journals for our analysis. And at the end, I will show you the results, followed by conclusions and some information about further study, because we found that the context of citation patterns must be investigated more in terms of content-based analysis. So, aim of our study. In scholarly communications, journals play a significant role, and we often hear about the so-called predatory journals, which are accused of damaging science and diminishing the quality of scholarly communication and trust in science. And such journals are trying to be classified and listed. Often they are named questionable because predatory is often the name predatory is often connected with some unethical actions. However, some of the journals are just journals of low quality. So this is why in this study we use the term blacklisted, because some of those journals are listed as the so-called predatory or questionable, or journals which make some violations against scientific ethos or editorial practices. So finally, in this study, we provide a systematic citation study focusing on journals covered by Web of Science products and on citers, that is, papers and actually researchers in the terms of country affiliation and self-citation practices. And the study aim is twofold. The first is to analyze the visibility of blacklisted journals, and the second is to understand citation contexts. And this study will be followed by an upcoming study on the content-based analysis of citations of blacklisted papers to evaluate the citations in terms of their content, meaning, purpose, shape, and array. This is the key reason why we focus in this study on social sciences journals, because evaluating the content of citations will require expertise in the field. Speaking about the methods of our study, as I mentioned, we analyze the so-called blacklisted journals. Predatory journals accused of damaging science in recent years tried to be classified. The most famous attempt and most controversial as well to list predatory journals was initiated by Jeffrey Bill, whose list gained attention from both scientific fields and media. The second well-known approach is done by the company Cables International, which not only lists predatory journals but also offers another products listing reputable journals. Those journals we analyzed we call blacklisted, in contrast to whitelisted journals such as listed in international indexes like Scopus, Web of Science, or the European Reference Index for the Humanities and Social Sciences. We include in the analysis only active journals of social sciences, which have been defined by us as journals that publish at least one paper in each year of the 2012-2018 period. And those journals have to have an active website when we started this study. And of course, papers published in those journals had to be cited by Web of Science journals, at least one paper. So we prepared two datasets. The first one consists of the bibliographic data and PDF files of the papers published in the years 2012-2018 in the social sciences blacklisted journals, analyzing the study, and were cited by journals indexed in Web of Science. The other dataset consists of data on the papers, that is, all journal publication types, published in journals indexed in Web of Science in the years 2012-2019, and we call them citing paper. The final sample analyzed by us consists of over 3,000 unique cited papers from 65 blacklisted journals. 22 of those journals were listed by bills, 35 by cables, and 8 both by bills and cables lists. And we found almost 6,000 citing papers, which produced almost 7,000 citations from 2,338 Web of Science journals. The results of our study. Firstly, we show you the results on the level of journals, both blacklisted and those indexed in Web of Science, in which citing papers were published. Here I would also like to add that in our sample of blacklisted journals, there are no journals which were listed either by bills or cables list and were indexed even for just 1 year in Web of Science. We analyzed what share of papers published by analyzed blacklisted journals were cited by Web of Science journals. We just used web pages of those journals and counted numbers of all published papers. The highest share, that is 19%, of cited papers of journals is found in 2012 and 2013. On average, 11% of all papers published by journals were cited by Web of Science journals. These slides show how blacklisted journals were cited by Web of Science journals. We analyzed in which Web of Science product, that is JCR, Emerging Sources Citation Index and Arts and Humanities Citation Index, a journal was indexed when a citing paper was published. We found 1,152 of 2,338 journals were indexed in emerging sources, 35 were indexed in Arts and Humanities Citation Index, and over 1,000 in JCR. 6,750 citations, 37% of them, that is over 2,500, were from JCR journals. Over a half, were from emerging sources citation index journals, and just 0.9% were from arts and humanities citation journals. All the test results on impact factor journals prove that it's impossible to evaluate the blacklisted journals, but looking at the impact factors or impact factor percentiles of the journals which cited them, because no pattern has been identified. The impact factor is neither a descriptive of the quality of the paper nor the quality of citation. Therefore, this analysis reveals the importance of the content-based analysis in understanding the purpose of citations to blacklisted journals. We analyze only blacklisted journals from social sciences. However, citations are from all fields in Web of Science. This figure shows the distribution of subjects to Web of Science subject and broader OECD classifications. These results are important because they prove the existence of citations from different subjects, such as medical sciences and agriculture, to social science papers appearing in blacklisted journals. Now I move to the second part of our results, that is self-citation analysis. We wanted to analyze how researchers from the same country cite papers from blacklisted journals in impact factor journals. Thus, we have analyzed the countries of the corresponding authors of cited and citing papers. For cited papers, we just analyze PDF one by one and written down information about the authors. This table presents the top 10 countries of cited and citing papers. Corresponding authors of papers published in blacklisted journals were most often from Turkey, whereas citing papers were most often from the United States. We have calculated pairs of the most often citing countries using the affiliation of corresponding authors. Here we present the top 50 pairs. Italian researchers published the highest number of papers in Web of Science journals, which cited papers authored by Italian researchers in blacklisted journals. This result is not expected, because previous studies have shown that the Italian researchers did not publish intensively in blacklisted journals. Thus, we also conducted an author-level analysis of self-citations, which revealed that Italian researchers cited multiple blacklisted papers of which they were co-authors. In the analysis of self-citation of the author level, we have considered all the authors, not only the corresponding ones. By the analysis of bibliographical data, we found that 641 of almost 7,000 citations are self-citations from 369 Web of Science journals to 53 blacklisted journals. And the conclusions. 13% of the blacklisted articles were cited by Web of Science journals, and 37% of citations came from the impact factor journals. When it comes to being cited, the affiliation of the author of the article from the blacklisted journals does not seem to play such a significant role. Since we did not assess the quality of citing papers published in blacklisted journals, there are two possible interpretations of the main result of our study. Up to 13% of the worthless articles in predatory journals can still leak to the mainstream literature legitimized by Web of Science. Or up to 13% of published in blacklisted journals are somehow important for developing a scholarly, legitimate discussion in social science. We prefer to leave this question open and to do content-based analysis. And as I mentioned, just a few words about the further study. Our study will be followed by a study on the content-based analysis to evaluate citation in terms of their content. We believe this is the best way to assess whether papers published by blacklisted journals are cited by Web of Science journals and cited by Web of Science journals are valuable for scientific community. Thank you for your listening, and we are inviting you to our website sc.amu.edu.pl.